All right, so biochemistry. We're going to start out with the basic source of energy, what you're made of, proteins. The building block, amino acids. That means it has an amino group and an acid group. And in between, it's got an R group. So the amino acid is the basic building block for proteins. Remember, you're made up of more proteins than any other type of energy. Now, why are amino acids important to know? Because they have an amino group that starts off charged. They have an acid group that starts off uncharged. Amino acids are the biggest buffers you have in your body. They are the greatest intracellular buffer. Sherry, who's the greatest extracellular buffer? Bicarbonate. So make sure, I didn't say extracellular, I said intracellular. So that means if they ask you what's the greatest intracellular buffer for any cell, you always answer protein. They'll get fancy with like red blood cells, and the answer will be hemoglobin. But isn't that the most common protein within a red blood cell? See, again, don't forget the concept. If you see the detail, you swear you're supposed to pick something else the next time they ask you about a cell. Okay, the answer will always be the same. If you are asked what is the most important intracellular buffer for any cell in your body, it's always proteins. If they want to say amino acids, well, that's what proteins are made of, right? Okay, but don't stray away from proteins. If you stray away, you won't find the right answer anymore. Okay? Now, the amino group starts off charged, the carboxyl group starts off uncharged. Why, Kimberly? If you're going to cross a membrane, charged or uncharged? Uncharged. Which one has a reflection coefficient closer to 0? Because remember, 0 means all of it went through, none of it came back. So that's the uncharged. Which one is therefore bioavailable, charged or uncharged? The uncharged. Which one is soluble? Which one? No, soluble means attracted to water. Then it has to be the charged. All right, so let's understand 3 words. It's very important. Remember, for every organ segment, you've had to learn some new language, because that's where students make their mistake. You don't understand what the words mean. Okay? Solubility means charged or polar. That's what it means, charged or polar. That means if I see like sulfur, oxygen, nitrogen, I can tell you it's soluble because that's polar. Charged or polar always means soluble. Uncharged means bioavailable. Because if I neutralize the charges, then it can easily cross a membrane. That's what bioavailability means. That's the same thing as lipid solubility. Okay, bioavailable means uncharged. That means you can have 10 positives and 10 negatives. There's still no net charge, is there? Okay? So it'll be polar because you got all those charges on it, but it's still neutral, which means it still has a good chance to get across a membrane. Okay? Then the third word is dissociation. Dissociation is when we remove hydrogens off these groups. Dissociation. So we're going to look at dissociation curve. Look at the pH by adding base to it. Dissociation means removal of hydrogens. Everybody understand that? That's all dissociation means. That means sometimes you get a charge that makes you now soluble. Or sometimes you become uncharged. That makes you now bioavailable. But those 3 words do not mean the same thing. Be careful. Here we go. You add base, and the first group to come off is always the acidic group. So the first group to dissociate is the acidic group. What does it mean to be acidic? If you are acidic, it means that your pK is less than 7 in the acidic range. To say you are an acid means your pK is less than 7. Okay, a strong acid is from 1 to 3, weak acid 4 to 7. So in case they say, well, this patient drank a weak acid, you got to know the approximate pK that they're talking about. That way you know how to treat the patient. To say you are basic means that your pK is above 7. So we can break it down again. Weak base would be 7 to 9. Strong base would be 9 through 12. Or just above 9. Okay? So if you're an acid, that means you're going to dissociate in the acidic range. That means your pK is less than 7. So this is the acidic group, this is the basic group of an amino acid. So the acidic group always dissociates first. Well, this Henderson-Hasselbalch equation says that my pH equals my pK plus, minus log of base over acid. Which means that when base equals acid, pH equals pK. Which means when it's half dissociated, you have half acid, half base. pH equals the pK. So when the pH equals the pK, you're 50% dissociated. If you're an acid, Michelle, and you're 50% dissociated, what percentage of you is soluble? 50%. What percentage is bioavailable? 50%. What percentage has a reflection coefficient of 1? Or close to 1?